literally. So a lot of times I just bite my tongue. But when the situation presents itself for this to be addressed, it has to be addressed. Because at the same time, we complain about racism, we complain about police brutality, we complain about oppression, all of those things which are valid. We are doing this to each other.
That means you're extra.
Hey everyone, it's Afro Angie for Kingdom and Community. And today we are going to talk about a very much needed topic. Ari Lennox, her live talking about how black men really make fun of black women for their Afrocentric features. Guys, I know, like, Ari Lennox is my girl, first of all. No Ari Lennox slander will be tolerated. I am 10 toes down behind Ari. I think that she addresses what needs to be addressed. And there are people who feel differently, and I'm going to address that too. But I support Ari for speaking out about things, because I feel like a lot of times when you're a celebrity, people really just expect you to not say anything. And I think that that's really counterproductive, because when you have that platform, that's when what you say can be heard the most efficiently. So I love me some Ari Lennox, everything she stands for, everything. But I'm kind of happy that this has been brought up. I'm really sorry to hear that she, you know, really felt how she felt about it. But I'm personally extremely happy that this happened, because the things that are being said needed to be said. And I know a lot of people feel like, well, people have been saying this, it's an old conversation. And I understand that too. But I think sometimes controversy is like the only way people care about things. Like, we're all about the hype. Before I get into the meat, bread, cheese, and potatoes, I'm gonna need you all to subscribe to this channel. Okay, I would like to have a praise report. I was able to reach my goal of 300 subscribers by 11/59/59, December 31st, 2019. Okay, so now the next goal is to be monetized. So go ahead and click the subscribe button right now. Okay, so for those of you who do not know what has been said, I'm going to be reading the tweets, and I'm going to put the screenshots somewhere on the screen so you can follow along. So the thing that prompted the whole live and the conversation was someone on Twitter said Ari Lennox and Tiana Taylor's ability to have dangerously high sex appeal while simultaneously looking like Rottweilers will always amaze me. And so Ari Lennox goes on live.
How people hate black people so much, how black people can sit up here and say that's not my problem, or she does look like a Rottweiler. That's fine. That's fine. But and you want to talk about how, oh, people are so sensitive, they want us to cancel freedom of speech. Why is this your speech? Why are you so comfortable tearing down black women and no other race? Look around. Look around. When are Hispanic women ever compared to dogs? When do they do that? When do they do that to white women? When are white men doing that to white women? When are Hispanic men doing that to Hispanic women? They're not doing it. They're not. Like, and
first of all, people shouldn't even be offended that she made a live about this, because Ari Lennox goes on live all the time. Like, people who love Ari Lennox love the fact that she goes on live. But anyway, so there's some controversy on the fact that people feel like she was complimented, saying that she had a high sex appeal, but she didn't address that part. And people are upset that thousands of people show Ari love on a daily basis, for being who she is, for being unapologetically black, and, you know, all that stuff, but she chooses to interact with the negativity. And I honestly understand that. However, I side with Ari Lennox in this case, because if you really watched her live, if you didn't just believe the Twitter hype and get upset without really listening to what she was saying, I wholeheartedly stand by Ari Lennox, because she was upset because it is a whole new decade. This man tweeted this on January 1st. Like, the first thing he thought to do on the new day of a new decade is to come for two black women who have extremely strong features. Maybe, you know, there are people out there who are saying that it wasn't just because they're black. You know, people just talk like that. Cool, I get it, whatever.
Just keep saying it. Keep saying it out loud. And maybe you will convince Hope, because you won't be convincing anybody else, so dream on.
But I really don't ever hear or see people coming for Ella May. People don't come for Snow Allegra. people who don't come from Angelina Jolie. She has really strong, beautiful facial features. No one ever comes for her. Someone said on Twitter a very good point. People have been talking about Tiana Taylor's features since she was a childhood, since she was on My Super Sweet 16. But if a white woman has defined and prominent facial features, which are beautiful, people love to tell them that they need a modeling agency ASAP. Back to my girl Ari. A reason that she was upset is because it's 2020 and people are still attacking blackness and black features. And I just want to stop there for a second, because she said in her video she loves herself, right? She's obviously loved, she's famous, she has support. But there are people, there are children, I was one of them, who don't feel like they're loved, who don't get those affirmations, who probably want to off themselves because society isn't reaffirming them. Now, I know people are going to say you shouldn't base on society, whatever, but it is easier said than done. One. Two, people who say that typically are people who are benefiting from society standards. Let's just get that straight. And then it's like people are upset that she chooses to acknowledge these people. And you know, I agree, we do kind of have to train our minds to think more positively instead of giving the negativity attention. But like I said, growing up as a young black girl in a predominantly white city, but I went to a high school that was like 50-50 more or less, black men do not like black women, or they didn't back then when I was in high school. I specifically remember being called roaches. I really don't subscribe to the whole dark skin, light skin thing, but I wouldn't call myself dark skin. I mean, I just call myself black, but I know people who are darker than me really got it bad. We get talked about for our hair, we get talked about for everything, and like not only do we get talked about for being ourselves, people get famous for making fun of black women. Period. Like, you could think of like all these people who are comedians who a lot of their big time shows have to do with making fun of black women and their attitudes. Kevin Hart. I love Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry, like the list goes on and on and on. So we can't act like Ari Lennox is being over dramatic. Sure, she chose to acknowledge the negativity, but she has a very valid point in what she said, and she was not wrong. Not only am I speaking from a standpoint of a fan, but I'm speaking from someone who has experienced that and who wishes that someone would have addressed that when I was a child. And that's why Ari Lennox is upset, is because she does not want the next generation, little black boys and girls growing up, wanting not to have black features. Like, people have always talked about Ari Lennox's nose and her hair. I don't really know many people in the music industry or entertainment industry in general that are rocking their natural hair and their blackness without trying to alter it. Ari didn't make the whole thing negative. She tweeted, "Moms and dads, please love on your beautiful black children. Tell them they're beautiful constantly. Tell black people they are beautiful. Tell them black features are beautiful." This is so important, but living in 2020, and I just don't see other people, other ethnic groups doing the same things to their women and to their children. This is a huge problem. Even Malcolm X said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And then we like to talk about mental health, but we're always bullying people. But, on the flip side, I understand how some people are saying black women do the same thing to black men. I think that that's also true, and I think that that also needs to be addressed. A couple months ago said men that look like pit bulls, also referring them to dogs, and that was really a great example. However, I feel like that context was a little bit different, because even in like rap music and stuff, they always say like I'm a dog, things like that. That's almost like a term of endearment for them, which is still a problem. At the same time, the culture has deemed that as an acceptable thing for men to be. You cannot tell me that a woman is supposed to look like a dog. That's not a compliment. Also, let's just be real. What is a female dog? Okay, stop acting dense.
I was going to say something else, but I'm going to plant my tongue. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to.
But there are people who really do offend people. Like Lil Baby has been compared to a pit bull or a Rottweiler on several occasions, and I don't think that's okay. Really, if we just get down to the nitty-gritty, again, I'm so happy that this happened. I hate that it caused such a ruckus, but we need to talk about this, because listen, brothers and sisters, family, friends, nieces, nephews, all that, we are rude to each other. We are rude, period. I don't care what nobody says. Like, we are rude. I get that it comes from a long line of trauma,
Imagine being conditioned for years. Imagine slavery, the effects of slavery being so ingrained in your thought process, in your soul, that you're going around spewing hate, that you're going around doing the job they wanted from us, which is to tear us down, to make us hate ourselves, and love them. Imagine the disservice we're doing to ourselves. But it's like we can't help it that we've been conditioned, we've been brainwashed, we've been oppressed. I understand that's why it's so hard for Black people to love on Black features, to love on something different than, you know what I'm saying? It's hard, I guess.
But I'm speaking from experience. I'm not trying to project. I'm just telling you what I have seen and what I continue to see now that I'm grown up. I grew up in a majority white town, okay? I was the only Black girl in a lot of my classes, especially in high school. The dynamic is so different. From what I remember, when I was in those circles, when I was the only one, they may not like each other, but they're not going to tear each other down. Not to their face. We will tear each other down to each other's face, and we will get egged on for doing that. That's like a positive reinforcement. Okay, I make people laugh by making fun of them, so let me do it again. We have to stop doing that. And then we complain about all the things that we do wrong as the community, but we associate everything about ourselves, everything about our Blackness as ghetto, as ugly, as unprofessional, as da-da-da-da-da. Like, what do we ever say about ourselves that's positive unless we're changing something about ourselves? People who live in the hood are a problem. So you move to the suburbs, now you're acceptable. If you have natural hair, it's snappy. But if you straighten it, it's beautiful. If you have dark skin, you know, now we're starting to accept it, but growing up, that was a big problem. But if you start showing your body, then it's acceptable. Like, we have to stop putting these stipulations on ourselves and on our Blackness. Like, we were created this way for a reason. And I think that I know that it has a lot to do with the trauma that we inherited, not only from slavery, because we were, like, Africa was being colonized way before the slave trade. We have to, like, get to the root of that. I'll make another video on that at another date. But it is so important that we address the way that we treat each other and the way that we speak to each other, because the brain is going to internalize that. And I have been called defensive plenty of times, because, listen, I don't play those games. I'm sorry. I don't play those games where, like, it's okay to, like, you know, make jokes, but you know people who just, every time you see them, they're joking about something about you. In 2020, Black people need to go, we're celebrated and not just tolerated. And those spaces should be with each other. We need to stop making fun of each other's flaws, stop trying to point each other out, stop trying to bring each other down. On Twitter, I see it all the time. Trolls get the most clout. I understand, like, that's the thing, you know, you're trying to keep up with the times, you're trying to get a platform. As a content creator, I can understand, you know, kind of doing, like, what is the trend. But I really hate seeing Black men tear Black women down for clout. And I hate seeing Black women tear Black men down for clout. I see both sides, and neither one of them are acceptable. We all need to address what we're doing wrong and fix that. Who are we helping by doing that? What are we gaining besides virtual people on the internet that we really don't know? And then when you gain those people, are you really trying to add to their lives, or are you just trying to feed your own ego? Like, I don't know. I think the reason I get so passionate about these things is because most times you have to, like, beat somebody over the head for them to care about this stuff. Not literally. So a lot of times I just bite my tongue. But when the situation presents itself for this to be addressed, it has to be addressed. Because at the same time we complain about racism, we complain about police brutality, we complain about oppression, all of those things which are valid, we are doing this to each other. Okay? Confidence is so important. Confidence is literally the difference between thinking that you can and thinking that you can't. And when you think that you can't, you don't even try. You don't even know what's going to happen when you try. I think so many Black people are in, like, a mental imprisonment of some form because they don't believe in themselves, because society tells them everything about them is wrong. And so when we grow up and we reaffirm that because it's cool, because we can get clout, because we can get likes and retweets, like, that's disgusting, and we have to stop doing that, period. Like, it's no longer funny. And I'm sure that, you know, this is a trend that might continue for some time, but again, I'm so happy that this is being addressed, because in 2020, one thing that I want us to do, and I think that unfortunately due to the Trayvon Martin situation and Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, and the countless others, a lot of us, especially in my generation, we kind of thought that everything was okay, that racism wasn't an issue, but now we see that it's still there. It's been there the whole time, and it's actually kind of gotten worse. We can address that, but I don't think that we can even fix that until we come together. And we can't come together if we're constantly making fun of each other for what we are blessed with. It's a blessing to look how we look. I can look at you and see your black features and see the strength of your ancestors. You weren't supposed to be here by so many standards, but your facial features let me know somebody was strong enough to survive and procreate to bring you to where you are. And you're going to make fun of those very same features that tell me your strength, that tell me your divinity, that tell me your originality. I don't want to get too much into it, but as you can see, I'm very passionate, and we have to stop doing this. We have to stop doing this. We do it so much, we think it's okay if we're attractive, but like, for example, Bria Miles, she just cut her hair, and somebody was like, now if we talking about ugly, because she has a little fade, she's still banging. Like, I don't want to just like point the finger at black men, because as I said, black women have been doing this lately on Twitter as well, but I think that it's especially hard when you get it from every other angle, and then you have to come home and get it from your own men and your community. And this is especially bad because men are the defenders, they're the protectors of their people. So if you have no one to defend you within your people, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of upstanding, amazing black men, but in my generation, and even in, you know, my parents, my mom's generation, I've seen the trend. If you want me to be very honest, I think it may have started after integration, where suddenly you have more options and you don't want what's been there for you the whole time, and that's okay. It's okay to explore, but when you attack your own people, especially as a man, and you attack the women, you open the door wide open for everyone else to follow suit. Not only do I see that, then I turn around and I see a lot of black men get on people who date interracially, get on women who date interracially, like Serena Williams and Meghan Markle, and the actress who was in Queen and Slim, Jodie. She even said white men were the first to make her feel beautiful. And so it's just like, you can't turn a blind eye to these things. Don't get me wrong, like, I see both sides. I see how a black man could feel like everyone is against him as well. And I think that at the root of it, we all have to just come back to one another. We have to put aside this pettiness, stop doing things for clout, and just really get back to the heart of loving one another. But again, I think that it takes uncomfortable conversations, and unfortunately, it takes controversy oftentimes to get our attention to even see how we have been doing wrong. I know that trauma has really shaped our minds in more ways than I probably can even acknowledge. Anyway, there's even more things aside from trauma, but one thing I really want us to do in 2020 is recognize those traumas and heal from them. A lot of people are like, man, we're starting off 2020 the wrong way, but I don't agree. I think that this needed to happen. I think that conversation is very vital to us moving forward as a people, because this decade cannot be like the last one. This decade cannot be like the previous ones. As a people, we have come far, but our progress is not like what we think it is. And I think it's our generation's responsibility to take that torch and carry it that much further. We can't do that if we don't come together, and we can't come together if we're always making fun of each other for what we are. Whew. I'm very thankful that this is being brought to light at the beginning of the year and at the beginning of the decade. It can be annoying, controversy is annoying, conflict is annoying, but we can't turn our ears off to these things. We have to open our minds and our hearts to understand where each side is coming from, because that's the only way that we can make real progress and not believe the progress that they're feeding to us in the media, when in reality, black wealth is supposed to decrease to 0 by 2053. If we have all this progress, how did that happen? Somebody lying. I'm gonna tell you the truth. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have learned something, or I hope maybe not learned something. I hope that you have considered a new perspective from watching this video. And I hope that, literally, like sincerely, if nothing else, I hope that the people who have taken the time to watch this video will check their own check their own mentality towards one another. I know one thing that I have really been working on, and something that I think all black people who have excelled in academia need to work on, is judging people who are in the lower class. I'm putting in quotations because I don't, you know what I'm saying, I'm not necessarily judging them myself. People who are in the lower class, people who live in the hood, or what everyone wants to call the ghetto, people who may not have the same education that we have. That's something that we need to work on. How does it benefit our people to make fun of where a lot of us came from? If not ourselves directly, one of our family members probably came from that situation to get us to where we are. So that's something that I've had to check myself. That's just one example. And I really want people watching this video to really examine the areas in their life where, as a black person, we look down on other black people, whether it's for their physical features, for their mental shortcomings, or, you know, class, anything like that. We have to stop doing that, because 10 of us making it out is not enough to carry us forward. And if you think that it is, that is a problem, and you should definitely re-examine that. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you will give this a thumbs up and subscribe and share. The filter is coming off. The gloves are coming off. This is who Afro Angie is. We're going to get real. We're going to get to the nitty gritty, and we're going to move forward. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.